Welcome back and thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Now, for the first time, the Kenya Wildlife Service has admitted that Brian Odhiambo, who has been missing for 11 days, was last seen in the custody of its officers. This revelation came through an affidavit presented in court by a KWS ranger involved in Odhiambo's arrest. In the petition filed by Brian's mother and human rights group IMLU, where they sought to have the court compel KWS to produce Brian dead or alive. KWS now says that the orders are impossible to comply with as Brian is no longer in their custody and had not been booked in at the time of his alleged escape. Ken Gashui reports from Nakuru.
Odhiambo's mother Elizabeth Auma and his wife Alvi Okello arrived at the Nakuru law courts, hoping that KWS would either produce Brian or provide information on his whereabouts as ordered by the court last week. However, none of this happened.
Nilimbebea jacket akuja vae, amekulwa na baridi ya kutosha. Na sijamuona.
Watupatie tu Brian venye hako tu. I'll just take him the way he is. Whether dead or alive, akiwa muumizwa, I'll just nurse the wounds.
Instead, KWS and the DCI responded to the petition by way of affidavits, responses which did not satisfy Brian's family, whose lawyers now want to physically cross-examine the DCIO and the KWS officer who arrested Brian on 18th January for trespassing into Lake Nakuru National Park.
We have received responses, they're quite lengthy, and we sought for time to have a look at them, one day to be precise, so that then we also file our responses and we can then come back on 30th. In
his affidavit, DCIO Ngeiwa disclosed that 6 KWS officers were under investigation for abduction with the intent to commit murder. The officers include Senior Sergeant Francis Washira and Rangers Isaac Ochieng, Evans Kimayo, Michael Wabukala, and Alexander Lorogoi. Brian was reportedly placed under the custody of Ranger Abdirahman Ali Sudi after his arrest. Ngeiwa further revealed that Brian was arrested at around 11 a.m. with the last signal from his phone traced between Nakuru State House and Karunga Estate. The phone was switched off between 1:57 p.m. and 4:07 p.m. on the same day. In his affidavit, Ranger Abdirahman claimed that Brian excused himself to make a short call, but instead he fled. As a result, he argued that he was unable to comply with the court order to produce him dead or alive.
He is not in the custody of the respondents. That's the first and second respondents. The same we have explained in our affidavit.
However, questions remain about whether Brian indeed outran a trained ranger and managed to escape safely or met a tragic fate within the park. Earlier on, some KWS rangers reportedly told the family to wait for Brian's body to float in the lake, fueling speculation that he may have been beaten and dumped into the waters. The family's lawyer is now seeking to cross-examine Abdirahman on these and other troubling issues when the case resumes on Thursday. Ken Gashui, KTN Nakuru.
Well, that story by Ken Gashui is our headline in tomorrow's